Welcome to the Casa Su Casa podcast, hosted by Lisa Saenz, powered by Verly. This is where we interview top business professionals, industry leaders, operational managers, and thought leaders from around the nation, diving into hot current topics to help you experience Mi Casa Su Casa.
Well, I am here today with Itzel Gonzalez, and she came all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, to our little community of Columbus. So, Itzel, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you got up early today and made the long drive from the big city of Omaha.
Yep, 6 a.m. I'm joking. It's not that far.
It's not too bad, right? And we
No.
almost got that 4-lane finished, so
Mhm.
not too much passing on the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of gets
It's
a little
a good drive.
dicey, yeah. So hopefully soon we'll have that main highway connected, and we'll be, Columbus will be connected to the big city of Omaha a lot faster and more direct.
One day.
One
hopefully.
day, yeah. So thanks for coming all the way here. So I wanted to have you on the show because I think you are an exact reflection of kind of what our community is these days. Not just here in Columbus and Omaha, but also in Nebraska as well. And we have a lot of people that are moving in from out of state, from out of country. Columbus is growing. We have a lot of jobs and opportunities, so much like the rest of Nebraska and things like that too. So I love the fact that you weren't born and raised here in Nebraska, but here you are living and enjoying life, I hope.
I am, yes.
So where are you from? Where did you originate from? And tell us a little bit about that.
So I am from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico,
Oh.
and moved here when I was 16.
Okay.
So,
And for those that
like
maybe
2
don't,
years ago, I'm joking.
for those of us that don't know exactly, where is Monterrey?
So Monterrey is basically 2 hours away from the border with Laredo, Texas.
Okay.
So it's a northern state, and not very far again from the border. So
Yeah.
it's a large city.
It is, right?
And
And for those maybe that don't catch that, Monterrey, it's Monterrey, Mexico too. Yes, that's what we're
Monterrey,
talking
Mexico.
about. Yes.
Yeah, so I was born and raised there. So like I said, I moved here when I was 16 with my parents and brother and sister, and we moved straight to Omaha. So
Oh,
we've
you did?
been there since
Oh, okay.
since 2002. So it's been 20 years
Wow.
since I moved there. So
Don't say that 2002 is 20 years ago. Don't
I
say
was
that.
2 years old when I'm joking.
Yes, you were. Yes.
People
I
are
was
going to do
2
the
years
math
old.
now.
I was 2 years old when you
You
moved here.
were.
Yes, I was. So awesome. So what, out of all the places in the wide world, they say the gin joints in all the world, what made you come to Omaha? Because when people think of coming to a new country, a new place,
Yeah.
Nebraska, unfortunately, does not sound that exciting. So what made you guys come to Omaha?
So I always like to say this story because I think it's pretty cool. My dad that year, so my dad is a minister.
Mhm.
So he had his he was working on getting his religious visa back in the day, but he had just got us our tourist visa.
Okay.
And so we had friends from Monterrey who were visiting Monterrey, but they lived in Omaha.
Okay.
And he had a big, like 15 passenger van, and he was going to drive back to Omaha, but he had unloaded everything he brought for his family. So our friend was like, why don't you guys come visit? And it was the summertime.
Oh, perfect.
So my dad was like, that's perfect. We just got our tourist visas. We should go visit. So while we were here, my dad got invited to work here. And so little did I know that I was going to come here to visit, and then we ended up staying.
Wow.
And so my dad,
A little unprepared, to say the least.
my dad was invited to work here before when I was like 10 or 12, but he didn't want to. But once we came here and my dad saw the opportunity to like serve our community here,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like more of a better timing. So that's how we moved here. And it was our first time in America, and it was Omaha
Where you landed.
where
Uh-huh.
we landed. And it was different because Omaha is such a busy city. I mean, Monterrey, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
And so Omaha is very quiet and small. And so I remember the first time I came here, I was like, where's all the people? Like, weren't I wasn't
'Cause-
used to it because in Mexico, everybody's walking on the street.
Because
You
it's
see
more of
lot
a metropolitan
Mhm.
city, right? When you
Yeah.
think city, when here we think city, you know, we think Omaha, but still it's Omaha.
It's still small.
It's still Nebraska. We
Mhm.
still have space. We have,
Yeah.
everybody has a car, has a home. Not everyone is living in skyrises or things
Right.
like that.
Mhm. So I was like, where's everybody? So it was hard to adapt. I didn't know English very well.
Okay.
So when we moved here, I was my half year in my junior,
Mm-hmm.
so in high school. And I remember going into the class and not understanding what the teacher was saying, or
So they just put you right in it.
they put us right in it. And
Really?
the school where we went to, there wasn't a big Hispanic population, so they only sent us for 9 weeks to like an ESL program, like an intensive ESL program for
Kind of like
9
sink or
weeks,
swim. Uh-huh.
and then threw us back into the classrooms. And so it was hard, but I think that pushed me to learn the language and
Because, I
learn
mean,
it
because you
faster.
speak it very well now,
Oh, thank you.
obviously. So, I mean, it kind of is like that whole like sink or swim. Like everyone says, God, I
Yes.
wish I could learn another language, but it's really like you have to make yourself, you have to immerse yourself in it. And you had no other way to communicate with
Mhm.
teachers, classmates, things
And
like
I
that.
think that moving here when I was 16, I think it was a nice age for me, even though it's like super hard because you're a
You
teenager,
left your
you
friends
have
and your
your
life
life
back
figured
there.
out with your
Yes.
friends, and then you come here and it's a whole cultural shock, and then language and
Mhm.
all of that. But at the same time, I think that I liked that it happened that way because I grew up in Monterrey or Mexico, and I was there long enough for me to know the language, the culture, and everything, and then
Mhm.
moved here, and I was young enough to learn it and pick up, from
It wasn't
there.
so hard for you to change your ways.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could
the
adapt.
transition wasn't
Yeah.
as hard for me.
Exactly. I think you're at that age, maybe also, yeah, being a teenager is hard, but it's also very, like, you're very malleable. You can bend and
adaptable.
move and
Mhm.
adapt. Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, great, great. So, yeah, I always think it's fascinating when people end up here in the heartland because you think of, no, I'm going to go to New York or East Coast or West Coast. But there's a lot of stuff happening here too. And you can
Mhm.
be, you can have a full life and be happy and everything. So,
Yeah, for sure.
awesome. So, you've been here since 2002. And then you went to school, I think I saw in Bellevue?
Yeah, Bellevue
Yeah.
West.
Okay, awesome. And now you're in the riveting world of title insurance.
I
So,
am.
and that's how you and I got connected. So, of course, I'm a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska, and you are a bilingual closer with Charter Title and
Mhm.
Escrow. And you're based out of Omaha, but you guys have offices throughout the state of Nebraska, one of
Correct.
them including here in Columbus. And I know we kind of talked about this. Title insurance doesn't sound all that sexy and super exciting, but there is a component about it that is very, I think, beneficial to people, right? And
Correct.
most of the time when I'm talking to my clients, they don't even know what title insurance is because they haven't bought a house yet, or maybe they've bought a house once before 20 years ago. They didn't even remember. So I think if you can, in a nutshell, what would you say? How would you describe title insurance for those that have no idea what we're talking about?
Yeah, of course. Well, like you said, I'm with Charter Title and Escrow. And so I landed with them about 2 years ago. And it's been quite an experience for me because I have learned so much. And there's so much behind title that people don't know
Right.
unless
Mhm.
they go to closing. And everything is like so hard to understand.
Exactly.
Or if you get into the industry. And so I love the fact that I get to help people understand it and
'Cause it's a
know
big
what
part
it
of what
is.
they're
It's
doing.
huge.
Yeah.
Like we are like kind of like behind the scenes, and you don't know what we're doing until
Exactly.
you go to the table to close. But the whole time while you're waiting, when you buy a house and you're waiting till closing, yeah, the lender is working. Yeah, you're as as the agent is helping, but we also are like the entire time
Working on it.
we are working because
Mhm.
everything we search the title, we make sure that that we get all the liens that are against the property, we get them cleared, we prepare the documents, we work with the agents, we work with the lenders to balance at the end of the day. We make sure that the purchase agreement is followed accordingly, that everything is according to the contract.
Mhm.
And we balance at the end with the lender, and then you come into closing. We make sure that you sign all the documents. We also make sure that that when there's anything that we need signatures from, or like if there's a change, well, everything is happening.
So
that
what
we
could
get
be like
signatures.
so what could be like a problem that could happen
Oh my gosh.
that you would be like, yeah, how would you come in and like fix it? You know, because again, people are like, well, what's the big deal? But a lot of times, like what I explain, and this is why I like kind of highlight title insurance, because a lot of times they're like, listen, you have all these closing costs. This is what some of those closing costs go to. Title insurance, which is actually helps you, because if, you know, Joe Blow wants to sell the house from underneath someone, you know, and then you buy it, and then that other person that was left out of the transaction comes in, you could have a problem with title. That's why title insurance comes in and helps you to make sure. So,
and a lot of people don't know that your title, you can insure it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the title company is. We issue the policy, we issue the title insurance, which is a one payment. It's not like a car insurance or house insurance where you have to pay every month. For title, it's just one time. And I always say it's very, because it's an option. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to get title insurance, but
it stays with
recommended, because
and it stays the whole time.
You own it the entire time you own the house.
Exactly.
And if anything happens, obviously, you know, you're insured, like your title is protected. So it's very important to know that. And it's, like I said, it's a one-time payment, and it takes care of it, you know, at closing. It's usually paid half and half by the buyer and seller. So it's, you know, it's a split
because it benefits both sides. It helps the seller to sell.
Correct.
Get rid of that property, not get rid of it, but sell that property, and then it helps the buyer to acquire it.
Exactly. And a lot of things can go wrong when you're going to buy a house. It's so hard. But my recommendation is always to start good from the beginning. When you're signing your contract, you have to make sure that, you know, everything is laid out over there the way you want it. You can select what kind of insurance you want on there for your title. You also let us know how you want to take title. This happens a lot, especially in the Hispanic community.
What's that?
Where so it happens a lot where your spouse is in another country, or you say you're not married, but you actually are
in another country.
In another country,
yes.
And like obviously in the U.S., if you're married in China or in the U.S., you're still married. Like marriage is a contract. It's a valid, you know, contract. So if you already told your lender yet that you're married, and then you say, "Oh no, I'm not married," you are. So we had something that happened to us, and we love to say, you know, share this information with people. We were at a closing, and nobody told us, like the lender didn't tell us. Nobody told us that the buyer, the spouse, was in another country.
Oh.
Yeah. And so
that could be an issue.
Yeah, the lender was there, and they had these, you know, the signature block for the wife to obviously sign, because Nebraska is a marital status state. So if you buy a house, your spouse has to sign, right?
Even though only one is on the title, on loan or whatever, but both have to. Yeah.
She doesn't have to be on title or the loan, but she needs to sign.
Yeah.
And nobody told us, and we're like, oh, this is an issue. So it's very important that you share that with your lender, your agent, that you let him know. Or another thing too that is very common with our community is that they tell us, "Oh yeah, I'm divorced," but they haven't even like
started the process. They're just physically separated.
Yeah, they're separated, but you're still married. So it's very important that you say things like that, because that can slow down the process or stop, you know, the whole closing day.
Right.
It can be like moved to even another day or month if, you know, that's not specified accordingly. So a lot of things can happen.
Right. Like so you're kind of there to kind of try to prevent any unforeseeable problems, you know, that people may not think would apply to them. You know,
correct.
Like, why do I need to tell you I'm divorced if I'm going to buy this house?
Yeah.
Well, this is why.
Very important.
Yes.
Also, like child support liens. There's a lot of child support liens in our with our community. So where the dad has kids in another state, or so that follows the property.
Exactly. So basically what I say is it ensures the buyer, when they're purchasing this property, that it's a clean and clear title. So you're not purchasing also problems that are coming along with it or that existed on the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Separate kind of problems, not like or I should say like structural problems or maintenance problems, different types of problems. So it's all about helping the community and trying to get them kind of a little more informed of there's options that you can do. You don't have to buy a house blindly type of thing.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to make sure that the title that you're receiving when you buy a house is protected. It's clear. It's ready.
And it's yours.
For you.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
To own until you sell it.
So what do you think, like, how do you feel like you're helping people in the best way? And, even with title insurance, like, how do you think you help out?
I love to share, and this is what I love about Chartered Title and Escrow. They saw the need that we have, in our community, and they did something about it. And the reason why they thought about me to do it is because they felt that I could understand. I was on the other side of the table where I couldn't understand, like when I was in class and I didn't understand the language, and it was so hard for me. And like even when the first home that we bought, and I was there, signing, I didn't understand
What you were really
it's a very
signing to,
complex process. And so I love to be at the table and explain those documents to them and let them know, okay, I'm not just translating the document itself, but I am explaining it to them in words that they can understand. And so you can feel how like the atmosphere changes when they go in and they're tense.
It becomes like softer.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I can relate to her. She speaks my language. They know what they're doing, and then at the end of the signing, they're like super relaxed.
They feel more
and comfortable
and assured that they like. It's like when they first go in, they're like, I hope I'm not making a mistake.
Yeah, I feel like I'm selling my soul to the devil.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, when they leave, they're like, oh, okay, so they understand the process. They understand what they're signing, but also during the whole time when we're preparing all the documents, so we have a bilingual processor and post closer too. So we have a whole team, and whenever someone doesn't speak English, we are able to make those phone calls in Spanish and be like, oh, so I need this. So, but why do I need that? So we tell them, okay, we need this because of that. And so like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So
they don't know. So to us, the educational piece is very important. So that's what I love about our job and what we do, that we can help them with that educational piece. And that's what makes me the most, the happiest to help the community. And we let them know, we're not just there for you at the closing table. You can reach out to us before. You can reach out to us after if you have any questions about the process. We are there to help.
Yeah. And I think I can definitely relate to that. So just like I said, trying to provide that bit of information to help everybody and anyone, whatever language, feel more at ease and just comfortable with what they just did.
Exactly.
So
yeah, because they're complex documents.
Yes.
They're very hard to understand. So
for sure,
knowing what you're signing definitely makes a huge difference.
Well, I'm getting the mark that we're running out of time here. So one last question I want to ask. So, you're a worldly person. You came from a huge metropolitan city in Mexico, now to to Omaha. What do you think has been for you the most, I guess, hidden or the most fun or like a hidden gem that you enjoyed while being here in Nebraska that maybe people would be surprised to know that that's available here in this great state?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot, but I'm a very I love nature, and I think Nebraska has a lot of like parks and places where you can just on a hike and just enjoy with your kids. There is this little park in Omaha. It's called the Arboretum Park, and not a lot of people know about it. It's like a hidden gem, and the only reason why we found it was because it was across the street from our old house. So we just kept looking cars. We kept seeing cars that would go in there, and we're like, oh, let's go in here. And it turns out to be, it's like a huge hidden little park where you can go and on walks, and it's like really pretty there. There's a lot of different trees and flowers.
And what area in Omaha is that?
It's exactly on 108th and 4th.
Okay.
So it's very pretty. It's called Arboretum.
Arboretum.
Arboretum. I can say
Okay.
it sounds like burrito, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
Oh, well, good, good. Well, we'll make sure to definitely highlight that and put that in the description in case people want something to do.
Yeah.
So, well, Itzel, thank you so much for coming,
Thank you.
for, like I said, for the long drive this morning, and for just hopping on and letting people know, things that are out there and how we can help in any way, shape, or form. So,
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, and I'm here to help. Anything that you guys need, just feel free to call me.
absolutely.